Free Game Podcast, special episode, quarantine edition. I got the homeboy Willpower, and we got a very, very, very special guest on the line. One of the dopest producers in the game. I think one of the most underrated producers in the game as well.
Yeah.
It's very special for me because I'm from Detroit, and like growing up in Detroit, what people don't understand is that from a hip hop perspective, when I was growing up, we had nobody from a hip hop perspective at all.
Yeah.
And nowadays, we got so many dope people representing the city so well, which is a blessing. And this brother's produced Eminem's first album, 50 Cent, PIMP, G-Unit Stunt 101, Exhibit Multiply.
Yeah.
My favorite records are the D12, You Are the One record, the Jada Kiss Smoking Gun record with Jasmine Sullivan, the Busta Rhymes They Out to Get Me record, Crazy. And he got sleepers too, like the one with the Method Man, Genuine, Let's Ride record.
Hell yeah, dude.
Grammy Award winning, multi-platinum denominator. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. Thank you. I appreciate that illustrious interview. Hey, I'm not worthy of that.
We got to let the people know, man. We got to let them know. So, growing up,
I'm not good at doing that. Thanks for doing that for me because I'm not good at doing that at all.
Yeah, and that's just a fraction of what you've done, obviously. But growing up in Detroit, I know you come from a musical family. I think your father was a gospel singer. Your mother was a writer. What were your influences growing up in the city, musically?
Just Dilla, Proof. Like everybody at the hip hop shop,
for sure.
It was Dilla, Proof, more like Slum Village. That was a heavy influence.
Yeah.
That was actually Slum Village was a little bit of an intro to me.
Yeah.
And then and just the whole JD. It was JD at the time and John Doe. Dilla was John Doe. I didn't know you was from Detroit. What side of town you from?
West side.
Oh, okay.
West side, yeah. I know all y'all from the east side.
Yeah. You from the dirty east.
I'm a big west side guy. I'm actually grew up not far from where the hip hop shop was.
Oh, word? Okay.
On the other side of Southfield, between 7 Mile between Southfield and Evergreen. It's kind of my neighborhood.
Okay, there you go.
But
I don't know. It was a lot of influence. I mean, I think obviously Marvin Gaye was that was one of my heaviest influences. And I think that came out for me later on in life a lot. Like I'm working on an album right now and it's heavily Marvin Gaye influence.
Oh, that's dope.
There's not a lot of, I'm still barring and rapping and, whatever, but it's a lot of singing and a lot of it is socially driven. And like Hear My Dear and What's Going On is like two biggest, I think, influences. But those was my intros, that Stevie Wonder and all of that. But hip hop wise, we didn't have a lot. I think we ended up being the things that obviously we had like who was it? Mossy Ski and all of them. Like
Church Most Wanted.
Church Most Wanted.
Smiley.
AWOL. AWOL. That's AWOL was like heavy.
Hard.
That's crazy to me, man, because y'all are talking like, it's crazy to hear because y'all are talking like Detroit didn't have that. But like me down south, I'm from South Carolina, man. And so the whole time, dog, all we doing is noticing that Detroit got everything. You know what I'm saying? So it's really dope to hear that, like, while y'all were in the bubble in Detroit, you know what I'm saying? I don't think y'all realized at the time how much reach y'all did have, to people in other regions. That's crazy to me though, dog. That's dope.
That's because we were shut down in a lot of places. So it wasn't like we were super supported. Like we weren't, like a lot of the shit that's happening now, it's like they didn't really, I don't think that they view it that way. The younger kids don't really see it that way. I don't know how they really see it. Like, it's a disconnect, and we've been trying to make sure that we reconnect those lines and just doing. I mean, I'm always working with younger artists. Like since the beginning of my career, I always reach back and I just work with people, groomed them like Jay Electronica, Guilty Simpson. A lot of those guys, they came through my camp way early. So I mean, it's like I got this kid, Young Rock, right now that I work with, and he just 2 seconds away from, we don't know what's gonna happen right now with everything, but it's, you know, we don't see that because we were shut out in a sense. It wasn't, the radio wasn't supporting it like crazy. Like we had some hands and, you know, and you say you're from South Carolina?
Yeah.
That's so crazy. You know, the universe works really crazy. I've been having, it's been a couple things that happened that pointed to South Carolina to me. And it's like the third time that it was somebody from South Carolina. It's like, I don't know what that connection is, but it's weird how the universe works. It's crazy.
That's dope.
But yeah, you know, it's a lot of, we just didn't have it, man. We didn't see it that way.
We had Awesome Dre in the Hardcore Committee was the only rapper that was signed growing up, and he didn't really get hardly no play at all.
Yeah, and he should have. He should have. Because he was mean.
Yeah. So basically, you know, doing research, I know around the time when Infinite came out, you know, it was really dope. But I just found out recently, I guess, you had just started producing when you did Infinite Eminem. You had literally just started?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know
that. Yeah, I hadn't been doing beats for like 3-4 months.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I tricked him because actually, I don't know if you remember IQ.
Mm-hmm.
IQ was a heavy influence too. He was in D12 in the, you know, and he introduced me to Marshall. I was only doing beats like 3 months. And Q was probably the only person that heard my beats besides my homie, Rich.
Nice.
So, yeah, I was only 3 months in, man.
That's crazy.
Jump right to a whole album. I was like, fuck it. So that's all
So with that, like, when did you, like, start, like, learning how to play the instruments and stuff? Because, like, you know, of course, now I know you're doing way more than just making beats at this point. Like, at what point did you decide to, like, go into learning how to play instruments?
Well, at that time, I didn't know. At that time, I was using a lot of samples, but I didn't have money for records and things like that. I was trying my best to stay away from any street activity or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't me. So I didn't have no access to nothing. Again, we didn't have nobody there. So I Dilla enough to go talk to him. I was still trying to get to meet him. So it was like, I just picked up I had a Emax. I don't know, it's an old ass keyboard called an Emax, right? And I had this keyboard, and what it allowed you to do was take a sample and stretch it across the keys. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of started fiddling with it at that point, and then I just learned how to take the samples that I had, which wasn't a lot, and make them sound like I was playing. And when I first fast forward a little quicker, when I met Dre, I was already kind of doing that. I was already kind of messing with it. Mm-hmm. And then when I met him, and it was like he was learning piano a lot more, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I just picked it up, and I was like, so it wasn't until later on, like everybody heard me learning how to actually play with Stunt 101. That was the first time I ever.
That's crazy because some of the records I named, like the Method Man record or the Gang Jamie Foxx record, I assumed you was just this master. No,
player. I was learning. I was learning a lot of stuff, and I would work with different keyboardists that had more. I always have a keyboardist that has more knowledge than me.
Okay.
So I can do the layer I need when it comes to riffing and all of that stuff. I kind of don't do all of that. I didn't do it at the time. Now I do. It's a lot different.
Yeah.
I was just learning from that. So you would hear the bed of the music, whatever the verse was. Normally I would have done that. And then when you hear like the, other stuff, it was like I would have a keyboardist that was there, and I would just learn that way. So you heard me learn each song I did. It was just me learning.
Damn, that's dope. That's really dope.
So you mentioned Dilla. What was your relationship like with JD?
Oh man, I miss him. We got really close because really funny is that he stayed. So when the first time he invited me over, and I never told Pete Rock this, but I go over his house, and Pete Rock is in his basement.
Wow.
He didn't tell me Pete Rock was gonna be there. That was just how he moved. He was just like, "Yo, come through." I was like, "All right, bet." I remember Pete Rock being in the basement. This is early on. This is when they was working on the Fantastic album, I think. And I don't even know if it was, maybe it was even before that. I know they did a version of that song with Pete Rock. It was not the version that came out. It was another version.
Mm.
But he always stayed where he stayed there. He stayed by Persian. And then when both of us, and I think things start popping off, he lived around the block from where I lived.
Okay.
We stayed east, out by I stayed in Chesterfield Township, way out.
Okay.
And he stayed like by Metro Parkway, out by Metro Beach and shit. And he was out that way.
It's a long way.
So
yeah, it's way out there.
yeah. So I would just pop up over there at the time. This was before he got sick. And then, funny enough, in LA, I'll tell you this quick story. So when I get to LA, I was in LA living there already. And I hadn't seen him in a minute, but we would always talk. But I was outside. I had this apartment, and my patio stretched out. It was like the biggest, the patio stretched out, right? Everybody else, balcony was up. So when I first moved to the spot, I'm like, man, somebody gonna drop some ashes or something, or spit or something. And at this time, I had the computer outside, and I'm thinking if I took it outside, the internet gonna work better, because I didn't even know how the internet worked. So, sure enough, I'm outside with my computer, and then boom, some ashes fall. And I'm like, man, and I look up, and it's Dilla. He like up all the stairs. I'm like, yo, nigga, what you doing up there? He's like, what the fuck you doing down there? So he come down to my apartment there. So we just always had these run-ins in that way. Like, so he actually got to see me grow, because I never came around when it came to shows and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, I've always been this introverted artist in a sense. So, and he was a lot like that. So when it would be like, yo, come through. All right, cool. I'm around the corner, play beats. I actually gave him Stunt 101 for Slum Village first. I made that for them.
Wow.
I had made that whole tape. It was only 5 beats. I made that for them first.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I heard you in an interview say that I think an A&R didn't like that beat at first.
Yeah, dude, that worked. I was with Aftermath at the time, and I'm always changing sounds. I always try to change what I'm doing. And it was just the sound I was on, and I went and played it, and he was like, man, see, niggas always trying to change their shit. I was like, nigga, you tripping. I was like, this fresh as fuck. I'm like, all right, nigga, you want one. And I don't know if he had played it for Dre at that time, because I think I was in and out. I was still touring, and I gave it to. So I didn't leave it with Dre. I left a copy of it, whatever. But out there, we was even working on nothing at the time. Well, we was working on another version of Detox, I guess, at the time. But
okay.
I left and was in Germany and gave it to 50 for them, for G. Yeah. So it was like, yeah, he told me it was whack. I was like, nigga, you out your mind. I'm not a visionary, my nigga.
That's a good game, though. That's a good game for producers who, really believe in their work, and people shut them down, because you could have easily been like, oh, for real, that's why, all right, damn, okay. But you
yeah, I mean, the one thing that you don't do is, I think it's good to learn the formula of whatever is happening. Like I just learned, I've been learning the formula of UK drill, right? But my UK drill ain't gonna sound like their UK. It's just the formula. It's like I'm interested in how they doing it. I'm inspired by it, but it's not supposed to be them. Yeah. So you don't copy something in its entirety, and you gotta push your envelope and push it forward.
Right.
Sometimes people. That's why A&Rs and things like that. The best A&Rs and I've said this in plenty of interviews, and I've been sticking with this. The best A&Rs are producers. And I believe because we have this way of not being always out and we behind the boards, our relationships are a certain way. Some producers have this great talent of just being cool with everybody, and they love to mix it up in the game. And some of us just really love making music. But the best A&Rs are always going to be producers. It's like sometimes the best coaches are the players. You know?
I think that's interesting, man. Like, with you kind of having like an introverted spirit, like, how do you position yourself to work with like great artists? You know what I'm saying? Or to push your idea or musical agenda, you know, on an artist. Like, cause you know, man, with, you know, like you said, if you're not like outspoken or you're not somebody who wants to be in the place at the time, you know, a lot of times we can be overlooked. How do you move to get what you want sometimes, being that you know, you got an introverted spirit?
I don't know. I think you got to have favor. And I think me and Royce was speaking about this yesterday, and I'm working on this in my life personally. Nobody's perfect. I think I have to work on this in my personal life, actually, personal relationships. But discipline, I think, is favored in the universe and by God. And I believe discipline, but I can have that discipline without a desire to want to be heard. My desire to want to be heard created my discipline. You know, I stayed in, I worked. People told me no, And honestly, man, it's very hard to be overlooked like that. A lot of times it's like you listen to something, you be like, I could have did this or I could have did this. I stand next to one of the greatest artists of all time, literally.
All time, yes, sir.
I helped build that ship. I've been there since day one.
Right.
It's just, I never pushed my agenda on them because I was like, I think I came into that thinking that there was going to be this, you move up in ranks kind of thing. And I spent a lot of time trying to do that, you know, with the whole Shady camp. So I think I've just solidified just a place there. But moving up, I have to kind of figure out how to do that on my own when it comes to the industry. And it's always a work to try to figure that out. Because somebody on that side, like somebody from Atlanta might not understand what work I put in when it comes to that. Because it's not like, you know, nobody's saying it. It's not like that, you know, and I don't go out and be like, oh, I did this. I just feel uncomfortable speaking about myself when you come from a place where people don't, that's not how they do, you know? I didn't have, it would have been different if I had, I think, a Jay-Z tag or, you know, if I didn't get tagged that in my system. It was like, I was just a part of it. And I always was, you know, moving the way I moved. So, and I don't think that you have to be that person to do that. Sometimes I think that's the blessing. You get an artist that's like, they understand branding and they understand how to do that. I didn't come from that. I came from a different system. So, you know, I'm still trying to figure it out, but I have no idea. The only thing I can tell you is discipline and sticking to your guns. If you believe in something, just keep doing it. And people will take notice. They'll figure it out. Like with Royce, like I went through a rebuilding with him, you know, after we started at Success is Certain, I believe. We started there and just kept pushing. And it wasn't like, man, it wasn't like we was making a whole bunch of money doing that shit. We've been on the independent grind. People look at that like it's this major situation. It's not. That is all being a team and working at it. Yeah. Period. That is not. I don't know. I know they talk a lot about a lot of different artists when it comes to what they built. We did all of that without no label push. There was no push. It's a lot of times where it's like my solo career. I just started my solo career. You know what I mean? So, and then it's never too late to do nothing. I do all of that myself. There is not one bit of push nowhere. You know.
Yeah, so, no, I respect that because I do agree with you. I do think that discipline is a major factor in it because you know how it is, man. Like if you don't have a hot record right now, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, like a lot of times you just get overlooked. But like where I've been able to kind of position myself in the game is like I'm just always ready. It's like I spend a lot of time making sure that whenever the door opens up, like I'm locked and loaded and ready to like present whatever I got, you know, on my plate. But I agree with you on that. And I think that speaks to your career to me. I'm like, that's why you still here and still killing shit. Cause it's like, you know,
you can't think about what's happening either. Yeah. I don't care what else is happening. Yeah. I don't give a damn what you do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, either I'm inspired or I'm not, but like, you gotta remember, we making the rules as we go. Hip hop is not even 20 years, 30 years old. It's not that old. Yeah. while everybody is acting like they doing something, you're building the story as you go. If you call Jay-Z old, if you call Eminem old, you call Nas old, you call all of these people, when you do that, you setting your own standard and saying you have to quit at a certain time.
Right.
That's what every person before got to think about. Every young artist got to think about. You're building you building what your retirement will look like. If you telling them that now, 9 times out of 10, that's what's gonna happen to you.
Yep. You speaking that into existence. There it is.
It's like they building their story. So I'm building my story as I go. I don't gotta care who hot. Listen, man, a label, and all of these, the way that these systems work, right now, what's happening? They can't do shit.
It's shut down.
They can't do nothing. Why? Because we at home.
That's right.
We don't work for them. That narrative got to change. Sure. That's not what's happening. And I hope that they realize that, like, we have every producer, Metro, all of these guys. Zaytoven. I watched Zaytoven thing the other day. I love that guy. Like, I love the way he moves. Like, he stick to his guns with his family. He do his thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that because he still just do what he doing. He going to be here 10 years now. He going to be here 20 years from now.
That's right.
Right? You know? Right. So when you look at stuff like that, ain't nothing moving without us anyway. So stop acting. We need to all stop acting like they got some kind of control. Fuck them. They better do what we do. Because once these kids get smarter, they get smarter every day. Because everybody from Michigan right now, anybody from Detroit, they come to Heaven Studios, you're going to get a load of information, and we're going to tell you exactly how to be standalone artists and not need none of that shit that you talking about.
That's dope. Yeah, let's talk about that because I'm doing something really similar, but I love what I see online with y'all with Heaven Studios, man. Like, it seems like you've created an artist development hub in Detroit. Like, I see you, of course I see Royce, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm seeing new producers come out of there. I'm seeing niggas that wasn't producing before now producing heavily now. Like, I see the development. So what's the like, if you could talk about it, what's the agenda with Heaven Studios and like your involvement with it?
Artist development that's something that I've always done. Right. And I think we just realize and understand the power of the actual artist, right? Being on that independent ground long enough will put you in a place where you realize, like, we're going to send you home and tell you don't come to work. We're going to tell you what to do, what not to do. Why are we listening to anything anyway? You know? The biggest thing we can do for any other artist is information. That's the most expensive thing you can give a person. It's information. Now, what happens when they get that information? That's not what you do. You know, producing doesn't always mean you're making beats or fixing a song or taking it apart, put it back together. It ain't always doing that. Sometimes producing is you producing people. And I think that's the first thing we learned was, like, we want to build artists, give them the knowledge that they need. You know, people, these like labels don't know what to do with a lot of artists that's sitting on the shelf. They have no idea what to do. And we just want to position ourselves to take it back to them days of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and you know, Babyface and you know, L.A. Reid, things like that. Like Puff, back when Puff was development, that was a lot of development. It was boot camp. Right. You know? And so we just want to do that because a lot of times you got to think they stick these artists out there and they just buy their song. They don't make stars. They just sign them.
That's right.
Right. And then you leave them. You throw them to the wolves when it don't work. You know. And we done heard every horror story. And not only have we heard every horror story, we've actually lived everything you could. You know. Yeah. Like they're going through a different version of things we already went through. So why would you go through it if you got that information right there? So we're positioning ourselves where I have enough catalog, I have enough knowledge. Royce definitely has the same, and we just taking it. That's what our next step is like becoming people that develop artists and produce in that way, because we can make the records right there. You got everything you need in that place. You know, it's a one-stop shop. Better to have. You got myself and him, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's what's important.
Nah, that's super dope, man. I love it. I noticed too, man, in the last few years, man, like you've gotten the health tip and like getting yourself together in that sense, man. Like, how do you, how are you feeling right now? What inspired that side of it?
Before I literally realized black people are we losing. We lose a lot of our family and friends. And we have to really understand that if you don't put the work inside of yourself, then nobody else gonna listen to you or believe you, right? I think my personal experience is if I don't believe in myself, there's nothing that I could do anyway. I don't care who talks about me or says I'm great. Everybody can tell you you're great, but if you don't believe it, whatever. So the first thing I wanted to do was get myself into a healthy state of mind. Like, I want to be more healthy in every aspect. Like, I want to be around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and for me to stick around and stay around, like, you got to look like you're trying to. You can't be looking like, whatever. And I don't necessarily care about the exterior. It's more so about the interior to me. Like, I'm very into meditation. I'm very into my peace. I've always been that way. I don't like arguing with people. I don't like getting it. And I'm not non-confrontational because you'll catch it. I don't have no problem telling you about your motherfucking self, but I keep my peace. And to keep your peace, you got to work on yourself. So my internal health is first and foremost. Everything can wait. You can do whatever you need to do after you get done taking care of you. Before I deal with the world, that's how I deal with the world. I meditate, I work out. And if I haven't done that, I make sure in the day that I get it done. And at any moment, any given time, I'm praying. I'm talking to God in my own time,
That's dope, man. No, I mean, the only reason I asked was because even yesterday when we were kind of setting this up, I respected the fact that you were basically like, I love to jump on at a certain time, but that's about around the time that I'm going to be working out. And, a lot of people don't love themselves enough to do that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm even guilty of jumping right to work and not even taking time out to not look at my phone first and, just silly things like that. But I appreciate that, man. I think producers.
When you think about what's happening right now, in our profession, you wake up when you want to wake up. Yep. If you got somewhere to be, technically, unless it's something that's happening that you're trying to acquire, you make the rules.
You make the rules.
I'm not gonna miss nothing. I'm gonna miss something. You wanna miss a day of breathing, or you wanna miss an interview, or you wanna miss.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're not gonna miss nothing if you respect it. You've earned that respect. You work hard to get up and work when you want to work. You make your hours. Yeah. Again, that's our narrative is we trying to change that for people. Like, hey, look, set your life up the way that it has to be set up. There really ain't no 9 to 5 when it comes to this business. I work 24 hours a day.
Yeah, man. Me too, bro. I'm with it.
Somebody call me from London or something like that. I'm not going to be asleep all the time, but I get my optimal rest. I've been on this weird schedule where I was going to bed at 11 o'clock in the morning and sleep until 7:30 at night. And I was first couple of days, I'm like stressing, but then I was like, wait a minute. If I stress, that's going to drop my immune system. That's going to do this. That's going to do that. Just follow it. So I got up and my day went that day. Whatever time I was working out was, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And I'm up, start working. I'm in the studio and I'm here until 11 o'clock. I eat, I do whatever. I got my whole setup. I'm not able to be at heaven right now because I'm at home, but I basically made a replica of this room that I'm in now at heaven. So I have the same room at heaven, and I mean literally, like it's not even like it's literally almost the same room, just a different, and I do the same thing, man. Like, so just make your life the way you want it. You have to, because if you don't make time, the hospital bed is the most expensive place you're gonna live.
Man,
the deathbed is the most expensive place because you're gonna think about everything you didn't do and everything that you wanted to do, and think about all of those things, and you're paying for it, right? I ain't trying to head there no time soon.
That's free game right there for real.
No, I just got one thing I wanted to ask before we get out of here. I made a list of the best albums to come out this year so far, the first half, and I got Eminem, Music to Be Murdered By, like right at the top of that list. Dope album. One of my favorite moments on there though is when you actually produced it, got on the microphone on a Yah Yah record. I just want to know how that record came about. You know, how y'all structured it. You know, because you snapped on there real quick, then Royce snapped, and Black Thought just went off. So, like, how did that record come about?
Me and Royce created that song some time before. Em always liked it, but we ended up not using it. And I think that's the thing. Like all the trips that we taken, now that we all share music, so I think Em heard a song a minute ago, and he kind of like, I think might even intended for him to be on it a while ago. It just kind of came together, like we had it, and the sample was obviously Busta Rhymes sample, and I basically had to replicate it. And like I know how he thinks, and I know how I think. It was like, man, now we got to take it out. So I wanted it to sound exactly like it. So that's what I had to do, was to make it sound exactly like Busta doing it. And then
I thought it was the real sample.
No. That's the only way I'm on there. I just redid the sample. I just felt like right now it's important for me to, anything that I do is to brand it with what I'm doing. If hey, you know what? It should say this. And I don't think that's something that should be a hard thing to do, because I'm obviously doing my own thing now, solo-wise. So when I did the beat already, I was like, redid the sample. I was like, hey, man, my voice, you know what I mean? Like, and people probably don't even know. It sounds just like the sample. So
I actually thought okay, that's weird. That's weird. I'm getting enlightened right now, because I thought Royce on the first verse. Okay. Interesting.
Oh, that's just Royce. That means it's just a dynamic that we was using at the time.
Okay.
You know, like that. He was like, his verse was so crazy. Like, he hit the second verse that he had, it was even crazier. But yeah, that Music to Be Murdered By was like his beautiful thing. I was so proud of him for the way that he had it, and he knew it. He knew he had a record. When we went out to work with Dre, and after I listened to everything a couple of times, I was like, yeah, he got a smoker. It's like, you know what I'm saying? And like, you need that as an artist. You have these up and down moments. And the one thing about him is that he loves what he does. Like, he writing 24/7, constantly writing, constantly trying to better himself. You can't put a price or a time on that. You can't put a ceiling on that, you know? So that song actually, and the funny part about it, that beat, and I always get mad at them when they do that to me, but that beat, I did that beat in 2012.
Wow.
So it was already, it's like, so I think that's good. That's good enough. I mean, I always make things I feel like that stand the test of time.
Yep.
So, and that's sticking to your guns.
For sure.
That's a good example of sticking to your guns.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah, no, that's fine.
So, I think Allegory definitely is one of my favorite albums. That Royce's album.
Yeah. Incredible, dog. Yeah, I want to talk to that a little bit, man, because I heard there was like an interview where Royce was kind of talking about the production on his album and about his growth as a producer, but he certainly like credited you as like a mentor, like brother in that, like helping him grow his production skills, which I believe are like about to just go out this roof, because that album is really, really dope, bro. So I'm just excited to see where he goes as a producer. Like, was that you just kind of walking with him in it, or you know, how did that come about?
Well, when you sit in a studio long enough and you don't have nothing to do, you figure out other things to do. I think what he learned quick was the first thing I was trying to get him to do was learn to record himself vocally, because we was burning engineers. Like, our hours that we keep are not normal. So an engineer gonna get with us and they just be like tired. We only had one engineer, which we had a couple. Like Brian, he held it down. But my man Morning Estrada was the first engineer. We bought him in. I bought him in on layers. So as executive producer, that's another thing you do. You introduce different talents to the table, and not Morning in, but Morning is in LA, and it was like you miss him when he's not there.
That's right.
And after Layers, we started working on Book of Ryan, which we started Book of Ryan before we started Layers. That's funny too. So I was like, yo, man, you got to learn how to record yourself because I got tired engineers falling asleep, not showing up. They got a million things to do. Okay, I'm gonna do it myself.
Yeah.
I think any great artist, that's what you do.
Yeah.
You learn how to do it yourself. You can't have them around you to do it. So taught him that, and then he said, man, I'm about to start messing with beats. And Preem had already showed him the MPC, and I was like, yeah, that's dope. I was like, but you might want to know how his brain works. I was like, yo, man, you might want to learn Logic. You might want to learn Logic. And he was like, well, what's the difference? And I started showing him. And once I started showing him, then he was able to hit, like, you got Siege, Monstrosity, who was on somebody else. He was able to hit Bink. Like, he had a lot of people. If he going to be up at 3 a.m, I was working on the project. So I'm at home or I'm in the other room next to him. So he can ask questions. He can do whatever. So I just did it that way. And then I gave him the cheat code. I gave him a clone of my personal system.
So he got sounds, he got everything.
Yeah, he got everything.
That's dope.
So he didn't have to start off like in a way where, it was. I think I gave it to him around Christmas or his birthday. It was just like I just made a clone of the computer. Like, so we just have those systems there, and I gave him a clone of it, and I was like, boom, here. You don't have to. There's no worry. And he learned everything he needed. He had everything to his access. And that's what, but I would only do that for my brother, not for some people, wouldn't do that. But it was the best thing that happened because you got to think, when I work on a project, I need his ear. Mm-hmm. So I'm working on his album. It's like, I just sent him the rough for the album the other day. And I was like, well, listen, I'm burnt out for the moment. I'm about to start finishing the writing. But this is what I have. This is the album. I make it as a beat CD. I make it like I used to make. When I used to make beat CDs and give them to people or tapes or whatever, I would give them to people as an album. So when I was working with Ray, it was like it had an intro, it had this, it had skits, it had everything. And that's what I used to do. So I'm just doing that for myself and making an album. And so I just sent it to him. And I know there's certain songs I'm missing, and he probably the only other producer that'll be on there. I got this one kid from here I just met. And I just work on the beat with him. But yeah, Royce and maybe one other producer is the only people on the album, on my album. And I need that. So it's a blessing to have it.
So when you gonna drop the project? When's it coming?
Shoot, I got 2 albums in the works right now. So I just finished one, and I got the one is like, this one is, I want to put this one out first.
Yeah.
Man, what's going on? Like, I'm just gonna be dropping songs soon. Like,
that's dope.
Whenever the album get finished in this time, I got nothing but time.
I get it, man.
It's gonna be different. But hey, I know how to do videos in my own way, so I'm just working that out. My partner, he working on a couple things. I think he just did this Lil Duval thing. Like, we do a lot of special effects shit. Yeah. So I'm just figuring out how I want it to look. Then once I get the songs done, I send them to him, and we just brainstorm for a couple weeks, and I'm just going to put out a video and a song every other week or something.
That's dope. Well, listen, man, this has been really dope, bro. Like this, I've been waiting to have this conversation, man. You gave a lot of free game to us today, man, and I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Yeah. This is dope, man. And bro, if you ever need anything from us, man, promotion, anything, let us know. We got you, and we would love to bring you back on the show, man, when we can all be back in like human form.
Yeah,
and you know what I'm saying? Because I would, if you ever in Atlanta though, man, just know you got a home out here, bro. I got a beautiful facility out here too, and I love to have. Yeah, so we ready, man. So anytime, bro, just hit us up. We gonna do this, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, my brother.
I really love what y'all doing, man. That's what made me want to come on the show. I've been seeing it, so yeah, I'm trying to get a little more consistent with it. internet.
Yeah, come on, man. You got game, bro. Like a lot of producers will listen to you, man. Like you know, you're a great leader, man. So just keep doing your thing, bro. We're gonna keep in touch.
Sure.
Appreciate it, man. Thank y'all so much.
My brother.
Peace. Peace.
Yo, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Free Game Podcast. If you did enjoy it, make sure you subscribe to the Airbit channel right below. Just hit subscribe on the button below. Or you can go to youtube.com/Airbit. You know what I'm saying? If you're feeling the podcast, make sure you share it. Let your friends know. Also, there's an audio version of the podcast. Look in the notes below and you'll see where to subscribe to that at.
Yeah.
Free Game Podcast.
Free Game.